Hi, my name is Elissa Karim. I was the Global Zero Fellow in International Policy located at Global Zero in Washington, D.C. I'm a junior politics major, and I'm originally from Nevada City, California. Global Zero is a 501c3 nonprofit founded in 2008. They are the international movement to eliminate nuclear weapons, with movement building in the US, India, and Pakistan, which is really exciting for the movement as a whole. Global Zero utilizes two tactics to affect public policy change. One is legislative lobbying located there in DC, and the second one is grassroots activism, which basically means using volunteers to change public opinion and kind of build the movement from the ground up. I became involved with Global Zero in 2015, actually, when I founded the Cornell chapter here on campus. And when I discovered that this was an opportunity, I would be able to actually go and put together my passions with kind of observing policy in DC, it seemed like a natural, perfect fit. So that's why I ended up there. So my first day at Global Zero was actually a really exciting day because it was the launch of our No Red Button campaign. This campaign was really trying to get nuclear weapons to be a voting issue in the last 2 months of the 2016 election. And we actually ended up having a really successful campaign. So that was really exciting to get to be a part of. My first project, actually, which happened on also that same day, was working on a sign-on letter, which basically we were trying to get former nuclear launch officers to sign a letter disavowing Trump as commander-in-chief. And I called about 150 of these former launch officers to get them to sign on. And this letter ended up being really successful, and I'll talk a little bit more about the outcome of that in a few minutes. And lastly, what the kind of last special project that we had coincided with my last week there. It was the two-month span ended up being a really great time frame for us. But it coincided with the Week of Action, which was basically an organized cluster of rallies across the nation, and that was a really exciting thing to get to be a part of as well. So my daily jobs, I did a lot of different things, and it kind of changed on a daily basis, which is something I really enjoyed about the internship itself. But just kind of a quick summary, I was writing blog posts, I was researching and compiling data, which was kind of, some of that was media tracking, and some of that was working for the campaign team so we could get materials out, so addresses and that type of thing. I was attending staff meetings, I attended rallies, both Global Zero's own rallies and as members of other rallies happening in DC at the time. I also got to monitor and contribute to our social media campaign. So this kind of looked like on Facebook and Twitter especially, and we actually had a video go viral in 3 days with 3 million hits, which was kind of a first for Global Zero. And lastly, occasionally I communicated with some of our volunteers via text and email, but more often than not, I was working really closely with the field team to create, organize, and distribute the next phases of the No Red Button campaign. And you can see some of these pictures. We had to buy some Trump masks, and these were some of our materials we were sending to college students who work with us. So the outcomes of a lot of these special projects were really successful and really exciting to see as an intern there. So during that Week of Action, we had 16 rallies ranging from the San Francisco Trump Tower to the DC Trump Tower to campaign sites and campaign offices in the Midwest and the Northeast. And that was a really, really good amount to have within a week, and we got some traction in the news with that. So remember that sign-on letter I was talking about that I called 150 former launch officers for? We saw that come about in the final 2016 national debate when Hillary Clinton cited it as evidence to not vote for Donald Trump for his lack of experience as commander-in-chief. So this is actually a picture from her actually talking about it, and that was a really big moment to be talked about on national TV. I wrote 6 blogs during the course of my time there. Most of them were research-based, but a few of them I actually got to write opinion pieces, and that's really exciting to have my name on some bylines there. Another really exciting thing I got to do was collaborating with our field team leaders in India and Pakistan via Google Hangout, and I created a recruiting presentation for them to use in their countries, kind of utilizing things that would help them address specific issues that they face in those countries. So I learned a ton of things on this during this opportunity, as you might imagine. So I'm going to summarize only a few for time's sake. But I think a big thing I got out of this internship was really working on my writing, partly to the blogs, partly due to my work on campaign materials itself. But I think that I really learned how to write in a compelling and succinct manner, and kind of really appreciate the drafting process that comes from it. So I really took that away, and I feel myself using it in classes today. Secondly, I learned this concept of rapid response, which might be termed for Global Zero's sake, but I think that really this is an exciting thing I hope to do more of. It basically means when current events and news is happening, you kind of, as an organization, utilize these and kind of indoctrinate them into your movement and use momentum going forward to make a statement on X thing happening. So in the election, there was a lot of things to kind of use that for. So that was really exciting to get to be a part of. So like an example of that was live tweeting the debates, for instance. And lastly, I got to see event planning and task delegation up close and personal. I do that a little bit as the president of Global Zero, but this was a much larger scale, organizing national kind of events for advocacy reasons, and I really enjoyed getting to be a part of that. Professionally, I also learned a ton of things. So I got to be a part of staff meetings, and a big takeaway I got from this was how you kind of conduct yourself in a staff meeting and how staff meetings can be productive. And that was really exciting to see. I also was working autonomously almost the entire time. I had weekly tasks that I had to meet, and for that reason, I was managing my time and really solving problems independently, and that was a great experience. Global Zero uniquely is both a team and an office because we're trying to affect policy change on kind of these 2-month-long campaigns. There's a lot of kind of interaction between the office, team, and movement. And I really enjoyed that dynamic as well. And lastly, of course, working in DC as a politics major is a dream. And so getting some experience under my belt in the DC environment with public policy I'm really grateful for that opportunity. So I had a ton of impacts, and kind of these are the more personal ones, I think. A big one was I was cooking for myself, which maybe you don't think of when you would apply to one of these things, but it's really important. And I really wanted to actually kind of experience what that was like. So I was doing that, and I was pretty successful. The hardest thing was a steak, and I didn't quite get that right, but next time. I also was traveling alone, and I mean that within the city. And kind of experiencing new things as a lone wolf, kind of, so to speak. So that was kind of new, and I really enjoyed it. I think I learned a lot about myself. One such thing being I love living in the city, and I love engaging with my community. And I was able to do that in my Columbia Heights neighborhood while there. My future goals, I think I definitely confirmed policy as a career direction. I really enjoyed working on an issue advocacy campaign and the kind of environment of campaigns in general. I hope to investigate that further. I think I really fostered confidence in my abilities to contribute to a team, to contribute to an office, and be able to be successful in writing and speaking and just getting things done in a timely manner, which is really important in those settings. And lastly, I think this really helped shape my job preferences. I like the idea of a broad arching goal, such as changing nuclear weapons policy, but I like the ability to do things differently on a daily basis, and the ability to have some flexibility in achieving those things. And I want to thank a lot of people. I want to thank everyone at Global Zero, especially Derek Johnson, for sponsoring this opportunity. I want to thank my site supervisors, John Qua and also Zach Deutsch-Gross. I've worked with both of them since 2015, and they really made this experience educational and fun, and I'm so grateful. I want to thank my faculty sponsor, Hans Hassel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate his support for everything that I do. And lastly, I want to thank my housemates, especially Brittany Kimsey. She made housing so easy, and they really welcomed me to DC and showed me the ropes. Thank you.